So, last poem on, thank you. Last poem on nature, like an heiress. So first of all, let's get some highlighting, please. So this is a simile, one of the most important similes in this poem, about thinking about nature. Don't worry about it. Right, so one of the last poems about nature, an heiress is somebody who inherits. Okay, often it's a relation to power, but it's also an idea about what we call about responsibility. Okay, so let's begin. Like an heiress, drawn to the light of her eye-catching jewels, Atlantic draws me to the mirror of my oceanic small days. Okay, quite a complicated first sentence, but let's underline what we understand. So underline this, please. Atlantic is a reference to the ocean. So now we know that originally Grace Nichols is from Guyana and that she moves to England. So in a way, what the Atlantic Ocean represents is the gap, the distance between her two identities. Atlantic draws me to the mirror of my oceanic small days. So her small days are reference to her childhood. So she feels potentially like she is the heiress to the world, that she will inherit, as we all will, inherit the world, but also that we have to be responsible for the world. Okay, with great power comes responsibility, and that we have to look after it, right? Drawn to the light of her eye-catching jewels. So there's two meanings to this. The first one is about wealth, so all the power and wealth the world represents, but also it's referring to the sun on the sea. So she looks at the ocean and she thinks, this is mine to inherit. This is mine to look after. This is something about my childhood. She grew up in that kind of area. That's your first sentence. We can draw a line right here. But there's a problem. Okay, now we call this a reverse. There is a problem about this inheritance. Okay, pretty simple one. The beach is deserted except for a lone wave of rubbish. Now notice the word wave here is a metaphor. So whereas you usually have waves of water, there are waves of rubbish. So there is large amounts of rubbish. Lone wave of rubbish against the old seawall. Now a seawall, underline this please, seawalls are built to protect homes from the ocean. As you'll know, the ocean has tides, the ocean rises, the ocean falls, and the seawall protects the land. But of course, as the ocean rises, the seawall stops working. So it points towards, again, the idea that there's a threat here, that the ocean is beautiful, but it also potentially could destroy as well. Used car tyres, plastic bottles, styrofoam cups. Okay, so these materials, you've got rubber and plastic. Okay, these are materials that do not biodegrade. These are man-made materials that are in the ocean. Now again, if you go to like beautiful parts of the world, you will find this kind of trash, this kind of rubbish all over the place. So it points towards the destruction that man brings upon the world. Rightly tossed back by an ocean's mood swings. So the idea here is that nature is angry. So nature throws this rubbish back, right? Tossed back. Rightly, of course, refers to the fact that this is an injustice. Okay? This is an injustice. Again, that is your second line. Now this line here is the Volta. So that first part is all about nature and about the way that nature is being destroyed by human pollution, human greed, human waste. Okay? The second part then switches to first person. Thank you. Undisturbed. Not even by a seabird. I stand. Okay, so it's a change in speaker. So we've now got a individual. Okay, an individual person speaking to us. I stand under the sun's burning treasury. Okay, circle treasury, please. So again, treasury is about power and about wealth. It links to earlier in the poem where they talk about jewels. So jewels and treasure. There is sort of power and beauty in the world. I stand under the sun's burning treasury, gazing out at the far out gleam of Atlantic. Okay, a gleam is like beauty. So I'm standing looking out at the ocean. Again, Atlantic is said twice, said again. Before heading back like a tourist. Okay, now just underline that, do an arrow for me. So the idea, of course, is we've got a comparison here, right? We've got the heiress versus the tourist. So people should behave like an heiress. They should care about it. They should recognise they have to be responsible for it. Not like a tourist. Okay? A tourist is somebody who is temporary. So if you're a tourist somewhere, you travel through there, you don't care about it. It's something which is short term. So it's temporary, it's short, and it is often irresponsible. Okay? Like we're travelling, to travel through. Okay? I head back to my hotel room like a tourist. Not that she is a tourist, but she's behaving like a tourist. To the sanctuary, underline please, of my hotel room. Now again, a sanctuary is somewhere that is safe. Okay, it's a safe place. The hotel room is about luxury. So there's an idea here that, like, if we don't have to engage with nature. So again, what we've got a sense here is that we are disconnected from the world, right? We can sit in our hotel rooms. We don't have to worry about what's going on in the world. It's somebody else's problem, not our own problem. Head back like a tourist to the sanctuary of my hotel room, to dwell in the air-conditioned coolness. Notice this, right? Conditioned coolness. So we can put on the aircon. The air conditioning runs electricity. Electricity leads to pollution. It's all this behaviour that's leading towards climate change. On the quickening years and the fate of our planet. Okay. Now to dwell means to think. Quickening years. Now if something is quickening, it means that it is dying sooner. And the fate is destiny. That the planet is going to die. So if we keep behaving in this way, if we keep acting like tourists, polluting the world, throwing trash into the oceans, that the planet will eventually die, and that all of us, even her, is contributing to it. So everybody is responsible for it. Okay?